Imagine a quiet, peaceful life in a small town where evening strolls feel safe and familiar. But what if, behind the walls of a house you pass by every day, something dark is hidden? What if a person, who everyone thought was kind and predictable, suddenly vanishes without a trace, and her own home becomes her final resting place? Gloria Gary was a woman whose life revolved around books and mysteries. She lived in solitude, seemingly content with the characters in her favorite stories. But one day, she disappeared. 9 days passed, and despite thorough searches by her family and the police, they found no trace of her in her home. How could someone vanish so completely from a place so familiar? Days later, a young man named Kyle Jepson was found and admitted to having been in Gloria's house. He claimed her body was still there, even though no one had found it. How could such an innocent-looking person, visibly emotional during questioning, be involved in such a case? This story will challenge everything you think is safe. Darkness often hides in unexpected places. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, a red Honda was found abandoned on a remote highway, raising suspicion. The officer who approached the car met Kyle Jepson, who said he had run out of gas. But the car's registration showed it belonged to Gloria, and her family had reported her missing. Kyle was taken in for questioning, and the details that emerged raised more questions than answers. He insisted that Gloria was still at her home, even though it had already been searched. His behavior seemed suspicious, and investigators were determined to get to the truth. The story of Gloria's disappearance began on January 3rd. She was last seen leaving work and stopping by a local pizzeria before heading home. When she didn't show up for work the next day, her colleagues were initially concerned but assumed she'd overslept. However, when she missed an important family dinner on January 4th and work again on the 5th, alarm bells began to ring. Gloria was known for her reliability and would never disappear without telling someone. As the investigation continued, Kyle's behavior became increasingly erratic. Despite his emotional display, his actions and statements led investigators to believe he might be involved in something more sinister. Eventually, he admitted to being in Gloria's house and hinted that she was no longer alive. The search for Gloria intensified. With new information, detectives re-entered her home with a search warrant, where they discovered something shocking. Gloria's body had been hidden, and the truth about what had happened to her began to unfold. This case shook the quiet town where Gloria had lived, as her family and the community grappled with the tragic loss of a woman who had lived a simple, peaceful life. The investigation revealed a story of unexpected darkness hiding in plain sight, a reminder that sometimes the most familiar places can hold the most unsettling secrets. As this story comes to a close, one question lingers: how far can someone go to assert control over another person's life? Could this tragedy have been prevented? Gloria, like many of us, sought comfort and solace in her routine, but sometimes what brings us peace can also blind us to hidden dangers. Stay aware of your surroundings and cherish those close to you, because life, as this case reminds us, can change in an instant. This version removes explicit details, focusing more on the mystery and the emotional weight of the story. It keeps the tone serious and suspenseful while adhering to YouTube's content guidelines.